Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lovely, lovely sunny day today. It's going to be absolutely boiling later on, so I'm going to try and get this job done as quick as possible, without cutting corners, of course. So, patio clean today. It's a slightly strange setup, this house. There's sort of like a path and a pathway and a dipped sort of section. I'm a little bit concerned about the drainage because I've had a look and there are drainage channels, but I've lifted the drainage grates up and what's underneath? Nothing but mud. So yeah, look, let me turn you around. So I'm now in a lower section. You can see the wall. I'll give the walls a clean as well. Loads of moss. It ends there, and then there's a little step there, so we'll give that a clean as well. You can't even see it. So. Up here, it looks to me as if the customer has tried to give it a clean themselves, judging by those marks there. They did contact me saying they're desperate to get rid of these black spots. They don't know how to do it. They're worried that they can't be removed, but I reassured them it's not a problem. I do this every day and I can sort it for them. So that made them happy. Anyway, this bit's undercover. These will look almost no different, I can tell you now. I will give them a clean, but they're not going to look much different at all. Here's the start of the rest. Okay, so this customer has a very elderly mother and she's not very well. When I knocked this morning, he looked absolutely exhausted. So I can forgive him for not moving these pots. He's of that age where he's perfectly able to do it himself, but he looked absolutely exhausted. So I wasn't going to ask him to move the pot. So happy to do that myself. Let's carry on. Okay, right, this bit, very old-fashioned paving this. Probably would have been fashionable in the 60s, 70s, early 80s, but not anymore so much. But look, it's absolutely covered in black spots. So yeah, that's what the customer just wants me to remove. So I did pre-warn them a little bit of mess would go in that pond. It may need a little bit of a clean out afterwards, but it's not going to be too bad. So yeah. Battenberg cake. Does it actually go under that tree? Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure how far I'm going to be able to get under there, but I'll try my best. And up here. And then that bit up there. Okay. Right, pretty straightforward actually. So, plan of attack, I reckon I'm going to go at this 50-50 with the X-Jet. I think that'll get rid of the majority, and then I might have to spot clean anything that's left with a bucket and brush going neat. And yeah, I think that'll be okay. Okay, let's get cracking. So I'm not going to move that because everything's tied to the wall, as you can see. I don't want to risk snapping this. I'm assuming this is some type of clematis, and they're quite delicate, so I ain't moving that in case I snap it. That can just stay where it is. Yeah, it's hot. Okay, that's me done. Let's go and have a walk about and I'll show you what I've done. This, I didn't really, I mean, I cleaned it. Like I said, it's not going to make much difference having a wash. These old slabs, they don't come up very well, even if you clean them. So yeah, slightly cleaner. Check this bit out. Look at that. Looking good. So I just need to rinse along that edge. It's got a bit of residue sitting there. Boom. Looking good. Pretty much no black spot left. Concrete's so much easier to remove black spot from than sandstone or Yorkstone. Makes things so much easier. Customer actually came out and said to me he wasn't actually concerned about me doing this, so I could have just actually got away with not doing that, but hey, it's clean. See, there's some residue there. I'm just going to wash that down with the hose. But yeah, all good. Right guys, actually no, I've got to show you down the front as well. Let's go and have a look. Okay, so this bit's come up pretty nice. Crazy paving. So I just asked the customer why there's these holes here. I thought it was maybe to help aid with drainage because it's like in a bit of a dip, but it's somewhere where plants have been planted. I mean, there's none there now, and there wasn't actually any. All there was when I started cleaning was weeds. So I mean, it's a pretty good idea, but it wasn't actually functioning as it should at the time. So okay, a little bit of soapy water around the edges there, but that'll be okay, that'll dry out. I'm actually really gutted because I wanted to show you me cleaning this bit with the turbo, but I forgot to record it. But there it is, there you go. I mean, it's not beautiful, but it's now exposed and functional. Anyway guys, thank you again for watching. If you want to hit that like and subscribe button, that'll help me out, so that'll be much appreciated. Anyway, I'll catch up with you next time. Cheers guys.